The Bible talks about male leadership and female submission in marriage. But what does that look like when you're dating? What should I be looking for?
Well, even just a little bit in response to the question that Karl answered, men and women are called to different roles, and those roles are specific to your gender, and that's another piece of evidence why God has designed it this way. But I kind of want to untangle the word submission and leadership, because submission, I think, in our culture is a little bit of an ugly word, or it seems tied to weakness or oppression or something. And it's not a comment on our value as women. It's more of a comment on the role that God has given us, a function that we are called to do in this specific marriage relationship. And it's important to note that the Bible doesn't say that all women should submit to all men. This is talking about the covenant relationship of marriage. And it's, again, not a comment on our abilities or our value or anything, because I think women can be excellent leaders, but they can choose to submit. An excellent leader can choose to submit, and that's what God is calling us to do in this relationship that we call marriage. And leadership, on the other hand, has nothing to do with power. I think it can seem like, oh man, why do the men get all the power? They get to have the fun role of leadership, but leadership is a huge responsibility. It's a really huge task, and it's constantly dying to self and laying your life down. It's servant leadership. It's serving the people that you are leading. And so what does that look like for girls? It means letting a guy pursue you, and letting him make the first move, and allowing him to lead and set that pace. And guys, it looks like making the first move, initiating, and making your intentions clear. Leaders will remove confusion. And it also means initiating those serious conversations that need to happen in a relationship about, like, for example, like setting physical boundaries. That's something that it takes two people to be on the same page to make those physical boundaries like happen, to follow those things. And so it's really important for guys to show that they can be effective leaders, and that they care about this, and they're strong enough in their faith to want this as well. And so girls, if he doesn't initiate those things, and if he's not showing those leadership traits, I think it's probably good to move on. And you could be the one to ask him out, make the first move, bring up the serious conversations that need to happen, but it's kind of setting a precedent that you'll be doing all the work in the relationship right now and in the future. And yeah, just practically, I think that's what it looks like. And just I just want to reiterate that all of us, men and women, we all have to submit. We all have to submit to something, and we all need to be submitting to Christ. So, yeah.
Nice, great job.
So if I can add to that too, I think I've heard it said this way, that the word submission, sub, means under the mission. Under the mission. And so you're looking, girls, for a guy that is in submission to Christ, that is willing to bow the knee to the King who has created us and is in fact our ultimate leader. And if you don't have a guy that's like that, that's not your guy.
Yeah. And another thing I wanted to say is that what it doesn't look like when you're dating for a girl, what it doesn't look like is to follow the lead of somebody who's leading you into sin. Like, you're never called to submit to sin, ever.
That's right.
Yeah. And honestly, when you think about it, the ultimate example of submission is Christ, who was in heaven, equal with the Father, and chose to submit himself to the mission of redeeming us and leaving his throne, coming down, not just being born as a creation, right? But by taking on flesh, but then dying a horrible, awful, humiliating death. Mm-hmm. That's submission. So, I mean, if Christ can submit, I can. So, yeah, it was nice job, you guys.